Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to talk about something that is so fundamental, it touches literally every single one of us, but we just don't talk about it enough. And that is financial privacy. In a world where everything, and I mean everything, is going digital, what happens to our freedom when our money isn't really ours anymore? And that leads us to this massive question, right? Is we charge headfirst into this digital age? Are we kind of sleepwalking into giving up our right to keep our financial lives secret? I mean, really think about it for a second. In the banking system we have right now, every single time you swipe your card, every purchase you make online, it leaves a permanent record. That coffee you grabbed this morning, yep, it's logged. That book you just ordered, it's on a file somewhere. And all that data can be used by governments, by corporations, to build this incredibly detailed profile of who you are, what you care about, and how you live your life. And believe me, the stakes are only getting higher. We're barreling towards a future with something called central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. Now, what's really wild here is the potential for absolute control. I want you to just imagine your money being programmable. Like, it could have an expiration date to force you to spend it, or it could have filters that literally stop you from buying certain things. And no, this isn't some sci-fi movie plot. This is the future that's being designed as we speak. So, if the system we have now is already this transparent, you might be thinking, well, what about Bitcoin? Isn't that the anonymous solution? It's a great thought, but the reality is a little more complicated, so let's just bust that myth right now. Yeah, this is the big one we hear all the time, that Bitcoin is anonymous, secret money. But the truth is, it's way more nuanced than that.
The word you're actually looking for is pseudonymous, and this is a really crucial difference. What it means is that while every single transaction is public, recorded forever for anyone to see, your real-world name isn't directly attached to it. It's like your actions are out there in the open, but the person doing them is hidden behind a kind of a mask, a pseudonym.
And honestly, this is the perfect way to understand it. Just picture the blockchain as a giant public mural in the middle of a town square. Anyone can walk up to it and read every message on it. Now, when you make a transaction, it's like you're writing your own message on that wall, but you're signing it with a secret pen name. The message itself is public, sure, but nobody knows who was holding the pen.
So, this really brings us to a huge crossroads, right? A fundamental choice between two totally different paths for the future of our money. On one side, you've got centralized control, and on the other, you have a completely decentralized alternative. And this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. Look at this. On one side, you've got CBDCs, centralized control. Censorship is not only possible but easy, and total surveillance is basically the default setting. Then you look at the other side, Bitcoin. A decentralized network, censorship-resistant by its very nature, and it offers that pseudonymous privacy we just talked about. These aren't just small technical differences, they're complete philosophical opposites. Let's be super clear about the dangers of a fully centralized system like this. CBDCs are, by their very design, tools for total monitoring. Your spending could be blocked because someone in power doesn't like your politics, or your entire bank account could be frozen instantly with just a single click. Now, let's flip the coin and look at Bitcoin's defense against that. Because it's decentralized and doesn't care about borders, it's incredibly resistant to that kind of censorship. There's no CEO you can call to complain, there's no central server you can just shut down, there's no single person or group that can just turn off your wallet or freeze your money. All of this, it leads to a much deeper, almost philosophical question. This isn't just about the tech anymore. It's about power. It's about control. So what's at the very core of this privacy dilemma? Have you ever actually stopped to wonder about this? Why is there this constant push against privacy from governments, from these huge institutions? Why does the very idea of a citizen having a private part of their life seem to threaten them so much? And the answer gets to the absolute heart of the matter. This is the crucial point. Privacy is the foundation of being your own person. An individual who can think and speak and, yes, transact without being constantly watched is an individual who can't be easily pushed around or controlled. Privacy is that space where new ideas, dissent, and real individuality can actually grow. This is such a powerful idea to sit with, something we totally take for granted today. The ability to pay for something in cash without it becoming another data point in a file somewhere, that could become the ultimate luxury item in the future. It might just be the one thing that separates a free citizen from everyone else. So let's try and reframe this whole conversation. Maybe we're not just talking about privacy. Maybe we're talking about a fundamental right. Let's call it the right to financial silence. And this is the bottom line. This is the whole thesis. If every single financial move you make is being watched and needs to be approved, are you actually free? Can you support a political cause you believe in, donate to a charity, or even just buy a controversial book without looking over your shoulder? See, financial privacy isn't some niche tech issue. It's the very bedrock of a free society.
And this is really the key takeaway here. Tools like Bitcoin, because of how they're built, they hand the control back to you, the individual. They empower you to decide who gets to see what you do with your own money, with the fruits of your own labor. It's about trying to restore a balance that, honestly, we are losing very, very quickly.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to ponder. Privacy isn't just something we have. It turns out it's something we have to actively defend. And if we just quietly accept a future of total financial surveillance, will we ever be able to get that privacy back once it's gone? Or will it, and all the freedoms it protects, just disappear forever?